This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. Appreciate you all out there. Ira, how was your Father's Day?
Father's Day was nice, uneventful. Watched a lot of sports with the family. Went for a bike ride. The son grilled the steak, so all was good. And back at it this morning and woken up with Kyrie Irving. So an interesting little morning here.
Yeah, I saw that story from Shams that Kyrie now could be on the trade block, could be opting out of his $36.9 million player option, and that the Lakers, Knicks, and Clippers all could be suitors for him. I know there's no way he's a Miami Heat player.
And I'm going to disagree with Big O and give him some talking points for the rest of today's show. No Big O, you know me. No, I always throw you trades, and you always Kyle Lowry for Kyrie Irving.
No shot.
Aha! Wait a minute. You're the one who's concerned about Kyle Lowry, who's concerned about the size of the contract, who's concerned about the size of the player, who's concerned about the age.
Yes.
So what about...
I'm more concerned about the state of mind of Kyrie Irving. I'm not worried about the state of mind of Kyle Lowry. I'm only worried about him doing circles in the drive-thru. That's the only thing I'm concerned of. Yeah, of course, he's old and all that, but if you actually lose the 35 pounds, maybe you can actually be a serviceable player. You're not going to be the star that Jimmy needs, and I understand what you're about to say. Kyrie is the star that he needs, but he's not dependable mentally. And I'd rather fight through the guy that's old and injuries, but at least he's dependable and he'll fight through everything. Whereas this complete wuss, if there's something going on in the halfway around the world, it's bothering him during a game. I mean, this guy doesn't know how to compartmentalize anything whatsoever, Ira. There's no way Kyrie Irving is wired to be a Heat player, period.
Nor was Shaquille O'Neal, nor were several others that Pat Riley has brought in over the years. Look, let's just backtrack on this for a second. I don't think in the Pat Riley school for wayward players, there ever has been a case where Headmaster Riley has unequivocally said, no, this won't work. I think Pat has looked at every situation from Tim Hardaway being benched by Rick Adelman with the Warriors and saying, no, we can make this worse. I mean, this is a coach who banned Anthony Mason from the Garden and suspended him as a Knick and then brought him down here as a savior during that 2000 team when Zoe had his kidney issues. I'm just saying never. And then I'm going to go to the other part of the equation. If this is a trade, the Nets are so win now with Kevin Durant. And Kyle Lowry would get Kevin Durant the ball where he needs it, when he needs it, on time, in the right place. So there is something where the Nets might say, hey, this isn't that dynamic scorer we thought we were getting with Harden or with Kyrie Irving, but this is a sensible player who will do the right thing. So I think the Nets part of the box is checked off there. Okay, we might be able to get more. We might get nothing. The guy didn't show up half the time anyway. I think the Heat part of the box is checked off from the standpoint of Pat Riley never just summarily says no. He goes into the lab. He talks to his people. He says, I wonder if we can get X, Y, and Z. Probably has to talk to the player ahead of time. I know what you're going to say. Don't believe what the player says. He's so flighty. He'll change on a whim because he did in Cleveland. He did in Boston. He did in Brooklyn. I get all that. But you know what? The one thing we both have learned in any sport, if you have the talent, teams are willing to make concessions. We see it in football. We see it in soccer. We see it in hockey. We see it everywhere in baseball. You can get players all over the place. This guy is so talented. Matter of fact, Big O, I don't think there's any doubt that Kyrie Irving is one of the 10 most talented players in the NBA. I'm not saying one of the 10 best players because that involves winning, that involves availability, that involves your mental component. But I'm saying from a talent standpoint, Big O, I think it's undeniable. And if you have a chance to get one of the 10 most talented players, a championship player, you would at least look at the possibility. So here
what head case has he traded for in 25 years here?
Oh, I think Anthony Mason was a head case when he traded for him.
Anthony Mason had a nasty streak with him. but he was a son of a bitch. He wanted to play
and Jimmy
ball.
Butler was, and Jimmy Butler was a head
Another
case
son of
when
a
you look
bitch
at
that
how he
wants
played
to-
out with
he's
Tibbs
not-
in Minnesota.
Another son of a bitch that wants to play basketball. He's not a head case. He's not a quitter. He's not a.
In
he's
these
not-
times where
we're
mental
talking
health
about-
is treated
we're-
on a different level, I'm not going to go to head case on this.
I'm not. See, here's the problem with this mental health stuff that we go on, where it goes on. It exists. The problem is too many are also using it as a crutch when they really don't have it. They're just freaking quitters. Sometimes you're just a quitter. This is a guy that could not see the logic of staying with LeBron James. This is a guy that doesn't understand that he was put in a good position, whether it's Philadelphia or Brooklyn or whatever, and he can't find a way. In Boston, they asked him to lead, and he went into a shell. This is a guy that mentally just does not have it. That's why he's not a leader. That's why he's not a super. He's
so
a
let's take it
superstar
back.
in talent only. He is not a superstar in any other facet of it. He can't lead your organization. He can't represent your organization. He can't even be counted on, Ira. No matter how talented you are, at one point or another, you have to say to somebody, you know, Shaquille O'Neal was a fat ass, was a lazy fat ass that had to lose a bunch of weight, and then he finally came here and then went back to being a lazy fat ass after that for a short time. So the bottom line is, I have never seen in the 25 plus years that he's been here that he's actually traded for a head case. He might trade for a guy he can butt heads with, but he's butting heads with a guy that wants to win, that wants to play, that has that nasty streak in him, and he can fight with that. That's good. There's no problem with that. You can overcome that, but you can't overcome the guy that you can't reach, Ira. And nobody can reach Kyrie Irving, and that's been the fact.
Right now at 601 Biscayne, don't you think Pat Riley is at least thinking about it? That someone in his staff brought him the paper, hey, Kyrie's going on, and don't you think, hey, Andy, hey, Adam, hey, come in here. What do you think if? I think he owes that to his team. I think he owes that to his players when a talent like this can become available. I think you do.
I think you're wrong as hell. If I'm Jimmy, you want to see Jimmy Butler lose his effing mind?
Jimmy Butler wanted to play with Kyrie Irving when Jimmy Butler was in
Not
Chicago.
Anymore.
Now that's
Not
years
anymore.
ago. Now that's years ago.
Not anymore.
But there was a point he said that.
I don't believe there's a star in the NBA that wants to play with Kyrie Irving. How about that? Not just Jimmy Butler. I don't believe there's one star in the NBA that wants that guy.
I believe in LeBron James's desperation to try to win one more time, LeBron would be on that list. Because sometimes Big O, now I can see what you're saying about the Heat. You don't have to be desperate. You were maybe one shot away from the NBA Finals. I can get that. But some players are desperate. LeBron is desperate. LeBron had to play with Russell Westbrook this past season. So I could see someone like LeBron saying, hey, against my better instincts, but for a year or two, as long as I'm going to be around anyway, might be worth it. So I think there is the possibility out there. And I think the Nets need
the Lakers
stability.
are such a mess, and they're so dysfunctional that I'll give you that one, actually.
Okay.
That one, I'll give it to you because of desperation, dysfunction. They're a disaster, but to me, there's no way in hell that the Miami Heat would want that guy here at all, because if I'm Jimmy Butler, it's like, I can't count on this guy. You gave me a guy I cannot count on, and that's going to be a problem right from the get-go. Remember, wherever he goes, his teammates are going to question everything about him right from the get-go. And so that's not going to be comfortable. He's not going to be accepted with open arms. Everybody's going to say, this mother effer, are you kidding me, bro? We're going to have this guy on our team, and he's going to have to earn his stripes with everybody on a professional level, not a talent level. And that's why, I disagree. I can't see that happen.
I just think Kyrie has a way of making himself the story. And today, on the day of the Warriors championship parade and 3 days before the NBA draft, he is a story. He is something that has to be considered. You were the Miami Heat. You have packages available. You could even do a Kyle Lowry and offload Duncan Robinson and giving them another shooter alongside Joe Harris. You can make a deal, and I think it is incumbent on any team to at least consider the possibilities. Look, Pat Riley might say this is not an A, B, or C list trade. This is a D, E, or F list trade. But okay, put it in my back pocket, see what happens, see how this thing plays out, see what the asking price is, see what Kyrie is saying, see what happens. I agree. Think about this guy. He couldn't make it work with LeBron, James, and Kevin Love. He couldn't make it work with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. He couldn't make it work with James Harden and Kevin Durant. He couldn't make it work, or doesn't think it could work, with Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant. So he's had the supporting players that a lot of players would kill for in this league to have that kind of supporting cast. He's a different kind of cat, but I'm telling you, the Pat Riley home for wayward cats is the place sometimes you have to turn.
By the way, that's the other thing. You're approaching your 80s. You want to finish this last run. This is the shit you want to deal with? No. I can't see Pat Riley doing that.
Perfect sense. A guy whose first coaching job was run out by Magic Johnson can end it by saying if he's going to be run out and run to craziness by Kyrie Irving. Look, what Kyrie does is what he always does. Through his people, feeding a story to someone, he's made himself the story. Oh, you can't say he's at least not a talking point. He always is a talking point.
I have no problem. I know that the guy's a talking point. It's just he's nothing that resembles a Miami Heat player. Zero, nothing at all. He'll say stupid shit that will bring all kinds of attention.
And I guess I just disagree with you because I didn't think Anthony Mason was, because I didn't think Jimmy Butler was, because I didn't think Chris Birdman Anderson were, and they all were.
They're all completely different people than Kyrie Irving. He's never, ever traded or signed or brought in a player like Kyrie Irving ever. He's brought always in a guy that wants to play the game.
He made it work for 2 years with Dion Waiters. Just saying. Pat Riley made it work for 2 good years with Dion Waiters. Just saying.
No, that never worked. It worked for 19 games, Ira. Don't kid yourself.
41, second half of the season.
20,
I know he was
sorry.
injured.
No. It was 29 games where he had a run, and that's it. It was a 29 game, not 19. It was 29, and that's all he ever did. And Pat Riley got duped and gave him a stupid ass 4-year contract. And he knew he had to have surgery, which that was the ultimate knock on Riles on that one. That one was like catastrophically dumb to make that move. So he has
next
to learn.
We'll talk about James Johnson. Okay,
he has to learn his lesson from that. You know what I'm saying? The Kyrie, and you're going to tie yourself to a ginormous contract with that clown? No, man, I just can't see that. All right, let's try the other one now.
Okay.
Bradley Beal says he knows where he's going to play.
Bull crap.
The problem, Bradley Beal is opposite of Kyrie. This is a decent human being. This is a good kid. He doesn't have any LeBron James in him. He's not going to do this to Washington, where he has shown that he loves it there. He does all the appearances. I saw him at an event for
dedicating a court in Washington.
Yeah, dedicating a court and all that stuff. So he is sold to that city, and he wants to be there. Okay.
Yeah, but also he says he knows what he's doing, and the two options there are staying, extending, or going into free agency. If he goes into free agency, he doesn't know what he's doing because you don't know how it plays out there. So when he says he knows what he's doing, it sounds like he's a guy who's going to stay and ride it out, because you just don't know when you get to free agency if it's a sign and trade, if the Wizards will take back what you have, if you can make it work. So he might know if he's staying or going. I don't think he knows where he's going, if he is, right, or the destination.
Yeah, I think he's obviously staying. I think he's going to end up saying that. And you know, I just don't see a LeBron in him where he's going to do this to Washington, then all of a sudden
he would have done it already. And he would have done it already. Exactly. Because if this situation is bad, it's the same situation he's been in for years anyway.
Right. All right. So over the weekend, what have you been able to gather? Zach LaVine, Miles Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Simons. Give me something. What have you been able to gather?
You know what I'm going to give you is not what you want to hear. I'd say the one name that if I'm focusing on who as a free agent could fill a Heat need and might be available to me is Jeremy Grant. I don't think the Pistons will invest the big kind of money. I think he's the guy he's shown in Denver during his very good playoff run that he doesn't have to be the leading man. He played off of Jokic there to a degree, Jamal Murray, when Jamal Murray was healthy there also. I think that's a really good name. I'm not totally sure the Heat have what they can give him. And again, and here's the question. Tyler Hero for Jeremy Grant. Are you on board with that? That's
Hell yeah.
win now. It's a win now move, Big O, but I could see 2-3 years from now, Tyler Hero, you're spreading his wings and you're saying whatever happened to Jeremy Grant. So it's a matter of how much you want to live in the moment. To me, that's the best name out there. For the price point, what they can do, that they can give number 27 on Thursday, next year's first-round pick, their 2028 first-round pick, maybe some pick swaps and do that. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, make the money work, have to extend Jeremy Grant. But I think that's the good name.
I got a question for you. If
Sure.
I can trade for Jeremy Grant, will I be able to keep Caleb Martin and make him my sixth man?
Oh, again, it's a matter of, hello, Mickey Harrison, how much tax you want to pay. You're going to be able to keep Caleb Martin
Mickey,
up.
let's go. Cough it up, buddy.
Okay,
Let's go.
Caleb Martin,
Cough
you can pay up to the full mid-level. 10 million should be fine. Say Victor Oladipo, you can go above and beyond if you move Tyler Hero because he has full bird rights. You can make it work. It's a matter of what are you spending for. We always hear if the Heat are in contention, we'll spend. Well, being one shot from the NBA Finals seems like contention to me. So
okay,
yeah.
so if I can keep Caleb Martin, okay, so I'm trading Tyler. I made Caleb my sixth man. So now I'm getting. Okay, I don't know if I have the more. I lose a little bit on the shooting, but I gain on defense coming off the bench there with him. And if I add Jeremy Grant over Tyler, am I closer to a title? Is what I ask you.
Well, I think in the starting lineup, all of a sudden you could start a lineup, and presuming PJ Tucker comes back, of PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, Jeremy Grant, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler. When those players are at their best, that's a really good starting lineup. I think you would wind up keeping Victor Oladipo as your sixth man because Caleb Martin's not a shot creator. I need someone on the second unit, and that's a perfect spot for Vic.
Right, but him and Caleb will be 6 and 7. That's fine.
Okay, I'm just saying because then you don't have the overlap with Jimmy Butler and Victor Oladipo. So all of a sudden, I can give you a second unit with the scoring shot creation of Victor Oladipo, the three-point shooting of Max Strus, the two-way play of Caleb Martin, maybe the center play you're hoping, I think everyone is, of Omer Yurtseven. All of a sudden, I've given you a nice bench there as well with no other outside move and basically some clean moves, moving aside some draft picks you probably don't want to have to pay or lock in anyway. So I think it's workable. The question is, how much better can Detroit get for someone like Jeremy Grant? So I think that has something to do with it. Jeremy Grant's an impending free agent after next season, so he does have the push-pull of saying, hey, you send me to Sacramento, I'm telling the Kings, I'm gone. You're going to wind up losing who you're trading. Yeah. So I think that's the most interesting name that they could pull off. I think it'd be a really good fit in this lineup.
I like that. The only thing I don't like now is when I end up sometime in the Heat locker room next year and somebody says Big O, all of a sudden they're calling Yurtseven Big O also. What's up with that, bro? Now there's two Big O's in town.
I think for the most part we'll know who we're talking. Originally they tried to call the guy Aladdin, and then people said, no, not politically correct. Let's not go with that. So he pretty much goes by O. And I think at least body mass type, you would be the Big O still. He would just be O, so we can make it work.
Only one Big O in town, Yurtseven. All right, buddy? Only one. Me. Not you, buddy. Okay? You're the big Yurt.
And we'll call him Turk Nowitzki, so it'll be fine. We'll make that work.
Yes. Yeah, the big Yurt is what we can call him. All right. Did you sign up for the shower for Tyler Hero? Second baby coming now.
I am so glad that I stay away from, is he with her? Is he not with her? Are they together? Are they not together? Who has the kid? How many kids? I stay away from it. Honestly, when Spoelstra's wife announced their third child in the sex, I said, have someone else do that. If I enter the social scene, I've got to go all in on that. And I've seen enough dirt and know enough things about what goes on here. You don't want me on the Heat gossip column. Believe me. Leave that to Jose Lambiat back in the day or Madeline Marr over at the Herald. I'm going to cover basketball. So whatever happens to Tyler.
You want to talk about the old days when they had a girlfriend section? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What were you saying? I'm sorry. What were you saying? What?
No, I'll leave that be. I'm staying out of all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What? Huh? I'm sorry. What? What was that? All right. So, well, congratulations, right? I mean, you know.
Next.
What are you working on the Sunset?
I just posted a story at number 27. There are 10 intriguing candidates, I feel, for the Heat. So I put that out there. You can look at 10 possible names, 27. Again, it's like the NFL. No one knows until you're in the 20s who's going to be left. Tomorrow we'll have our mock.
You did mention there isn't shooting there at 27.
There is shooting
right?
at 27, yeah.
Or
Now,
what is it? No, there is. What is it? Size?
Jake LaRavia is a really good shooter who actually is on the same career path, kid out of Wake Forest, as Duncan Robinson and Max Strus. Started at a smaller school, Indiana State, went to Wake. Really good shooter. You lose Duncan Robinson, you can come back with another replacement shooter. That's my choice there. I think that could happen. There's some smaller guards that might work out. But again, I don't know if the Heat want to lock into a 2-year guaranteed contract there. So I could see them making the pick for someone else. I could also see the Heat doing this, Big O, trading it for a 2025 first-round pick. That way, when they owe that pick to Oklahoma City, they'll still have some flexibility to trade another future first-round pick. So all might not appear as it seems on Thursday. We'll get into that a little bit more Wednesday with Clay Ferraro and Slomin's Home Security Inside the Paint Show. And then I'll be back with you on the Acura Pembroke Pines report later in the week to talk a little more draft. But some interesting names out there, definitely.
And I barely watch college basketball. No big guys around that area either.
There are big guys, but there's sort of like the 6'8" big guys who could play up. I'm not a fan of like Walker Kessler, which is actually Alec Kessler's nephew, plays at Auburn now. So it's an interesting name. But I just think the big bigs is only a big guy doesn't work. And EJ Liddell from Ohio State played in the pivot at 6'7", a little bit undersized. Heat kind of player that could be interesting. It's an interesting enough group that there will be some intrigue at 27. I don't know about a first-year contributor.
Remember the late Alec Kessler? I still remember that story where he like disappeared on a boat.
Yes, went to the Bahamas. No one can find him. It was the days before cell phones. It was like 3 days, and we thought we lost his center at sea. Yes.
Yeah, man, that was a wacky ass story, man. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work at the Sun Sentinel and subscribe, folks. All right, support our journalists who do an excellent job. Ira, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up on Thursday.
On Thursday and also Wednesday with our Slomin's Home Security Show. Yes. And I'm going to start a GoFundMe for Kyrie no matter what you say, Big O. Thanks.
You got it later. There is Ira Winderman, and he's out of his mind if he thinks Pat Riley's going to go with Kyrie Irving.